What is the biggest thing you regret in life?
I regret in life? I regret coming to Canada because if I had stayed in the Caribbean, I would have been way better. I came to Canada, I worked, I don't know, maybe 20 years. I had to go back to my country. 7 years, living here for 20 years, 7 years of my country give me enough money to buy 2 properties in Canada cash.
So a lot of my friends and family, particular in Jamaica, asking me what is my experience being in Canada, because they want to make the transition. Now this video is not to discourage anybody from coming to Canada. If you feel like Canada is a place that you want to come and live and, you know, start your family, feel free. Don't let this discourage you. But I want to share the realities of Canada. I've been here for the last almost 6 years, and Canada has been, it's different from after COVID. Canada has changed significantly in a number of areas, and I'll speak to some of the areas that I think Canada changed a lot in. When it comes down to taxes, Canada, I think, have one of the highest taxes in the world. So the more money you earn, the more tax you pay in Canada. It's like the higher you climb is the higher the government take money out of your pay. So you're paying, as I'm up to 47% of your income in Canada that goes to tax. So it's very, 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 very tax heavy in Canada. The other thing that I noticed in Canada is that after COVID, the price of food went right through the doors. Like literally, you can go to supermarket with 100 Canadian dollar and you come out back with absolutely nothing. Just two, probably, if you get 2 bags with $100, you get a lot. Food over the last 2 years, particularly 3 years, skyrocket high. The cost of living versus what you're getting for your pay, what you're getting for to buy for food, absolutely ridiculous. The other thing is rent. Now Canada have this. So before COVID, you could get a 2-bedroom for like 1,100 Canadian dollars, $1,200. Now after COVID, the same apartment, the apartment that I live on, I got my apartment before COVID, so I got in a very comfortable rate for a 2-bedroom apartment. Now I have some friends who moved from Jamaica, and there are some vacancies on this apartment, and they live here, and they're paying $1,800 for the same 2-bedroom. And when they move, the landlord charging $2,200 for the same 2-bedroom. So rent in Canada, it's very, very, very expensive. When you talk about the healthcare, now Canada have free healthcare because they use the taxes that we pay to provide free health care. But when you go to the hospital, it's like it's no different from an underdeveloped country where you're waiting hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, like literally waiting for 8 hours. You go to the hospital from 7 a.m. in the morning, you're not getting through, and I kid you not, you're not getting through until around maybe 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. That's when you actually get to see a doctor, because there is a shortage in the healthcare workers. There is no doctor, and you can't go to a private doctor. You can't say, all right, you have your money, so you're gonna go to a private doctor. Canada not deal with private doctor. The rich, the poor, everybody goes to one hospital. Furthermore, you can't even get a family doctor. There's a 6 months waiting list to even get a family doctor here in Canada. The other challenge with the reality of Canada is, honestly, Canada boring. Canada boring. There is nothing to do. It's good when you have like your own community, that you can have that level of culture. You know, you have your Jamaican community, you have the other ethnic groups who have their community. Community is big. If you don't have a community in Canada, man, Canada is boring. Now have nothing to do. So I'm grateful that here we form a nice little community where people can display culture, you can talk your language, you can cook your food, and you just feel Jamaican. Without that being present, Canada boring. So a lot of people just work in Canada and save them money so that they can travel to different countries. That's what I've been doing over the last couple of years. Like me, I can't stay 12 months in Canada. It's not possible. It's not possible. Yeah. So at the end of the day, Canada is still good in some instances where, you know, the crime and violence is not as bad. They have good gun laws, but overall, if you're not a strong person, if you don't have community and you don't have the support, Canada is very, very depressing. And grateful to be here, and I'm not discouraging anybody from coming. You can come and you may find it to be good. The other thing is I want to mention is that with this current government, what they're doing, they're reversing a number of the immigration programs that they had for people to get easy access in Canada. So a lot of temporary residents, a lot of people going back to their countries. Trust me, if you do the research right now, a lot of people going back to their countries because people just cannot afford to live in Canada anymore, or the government make it so difficult for persons now to obtain permanent residence in this country. But still grateful to be here, but I just wish things will change soon. That's just my reality of Canada.
If you decide to run off, come my friend, though, let me tell you what you're going to need. This is a must. If you got it, you're going to need him in every angle. You're going to need God. You have to learn to pray. Because it alone will keep you sane. If you decide to come to America, prepare yourself mentally, because you are going to be depressed. Depression is going to be your best friend. Depression is going to look in at every angle. Yeah, man. Depression, I got to say, depression, I got to say, you ever play tug and war yet? I said depression, I got all and pull you. Yeah. When I was coming here, I met 3 girls and a child. 3 girls, and one girl let my one daughter, we are 12, so we try to come through together. Come on the same plane. We did stay at different hotel, but we link up in a local part that we come through Panama. And you see me, if anywhere me go, people always like me. Cause I'm genuine. You see, if I'm going to help you, I'm going to help you genuinely. I'm not help you if you even tell me thanks. If you want to tell me thanks, it's your business that. The thanks what you're going to tell me are for your own good. I'm genuine. So I tried through. You see, I leave Panama and go Cancun before the girl them, because I one day layover me did have in Panama. Them they must be 3, 4. I never have the time for that, cause I never have the whole heap of money for spend I go through. So when I tried it in Cancun, me meet 2 more girl and 1 man. Them come from TG. We end up stay at the hotel together. Could it, remember say we never buy a flight ticket for go Tijuana. Cause you know you can't have that yet. But at the hotel, let's say with the people them, I mean I walk up and I try to get ticket and I come and I really want to stay too long, and then I kinda have a mission. I use my time wisely because I was supposed to only stay there for like 7 days. The people them buy them ticket and don't tell me. The man and one of the girl them, and one of the girl them said, me I leaving them, I say leave go. She said we get fly. Me say really? And then she start cuss the guy and say come like some Batman. Imagine you and the girl that walk up and down from morning and you get a flight, but you couldn't make the girl jump on it. Anyway, she try a thing for me, but my card never work at the time. The NCB card never process the transaction. It keep on a decline or something. Fast forward, me go through all stress day, you know. End up get a flight for go Tijuana. 6 o'clock the next morning, I'm go through something. Meet an immigration man. Immigration man give me his number. I'ma walk the girl them. The girl them we come over now. We are trot over with me. Them come over in the night. I walk them through the process. I don't gatekeep nothing. I make them know what to say, what to do every little thing. I guide them right through. Yeah, so when them reach, I will end up, they're not the one at the same hotel. I tell them if I come. One of the grandmother send money for, she send 100 US come give me. I said, make that girl buy a juice, man. I like that girl or something. I would try it, I would go through. Then I would see him hotel, different room. Me in that room 301, them in that room 302. We walk up and down because I come to a whole heap of little drama I go through, you know. Come back. Whole heap of little drama I go through. So the whole I will come through the swamp together, like literally alligator swamp. A 4 hours walk for. Come through the swamp. We are walk from 6 o'clock to about 10:30 at the night. 4.5 hours to walk in through the bush. It's when we are walk. Me hear some animal a ball. Only when me I watch African show or Discovery Channel alone, me hear them animal the inner. You don't know after all of that we go through, 2 of the girls them go back to Jamaica. We come up April, May, June, July, August, September, the girl them say them can't take the pressure. Them not make the pressure kill them America. Them take a plane and go back to them yard. And these 2 girls, they came here and they were with their mother. And their mother them there, yeah, in New York. And them go back to them yard. So them not make depression kill them love. So you have to strong. So prepare yourself. Prepare yourself because the depression is real.
You know, it's okay if you pack up from foreign and go back to your yard. It's okay. It's okay if you've migrated and you decide that this is not working out. I am going back to Jamaica. Nothing is wrong with that. And we need to normalize people doing that instead of staying in a foreign country and suffer. It makes no sense for us to stay in a foreign country if we're not doing well. And doing well doesn't necessarily mean that you have a house, you have a car, you have a good job. Doing well also means that you're not coping mentally. You're just not happy. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter who you're around. You're not happy. Now, the other day, somebody told me that, you know, somebody that we both know, that person decided to go back home. And I said, good for her. Good for her. Because if you're really not happy here, if you're not getting the kind of job that you want, you come to Canada and you just realize it doesn't matter what you try, it doesn't matter what kind of qualifications you have. You've gotten certified here in Canada, you have your qualification from back home in Jamaica. Listen, sometimes we have master's degrees and we can't get a good job over here. If you realize that you're not getting back to the status after 4 years, 5 years, the kind of lifestyle that you used to live in Jamaica, you're not able to do that in Canada or the United States, go back home. A lot of us come here and we leave house, we leave car, we left good jobs. Our kids were in private schools, the best of the best in Jamaica. And we come here and we're just not getting that standard of living. Even though you might have a job, you might, you know, be able to buy a house, but that standard of living that you had in Jamaica, that good job where that made you feel like, oh, you know, you're actually meeting your targets and meeting your goals in terms of, you know, your career. You have to start all over from scratch. And sometimes even after 4 or 5 years, you're still not there. Let's normalize saying, you know what? There's no shame in it. I'm going to pack up and I'm going to go back to my home country because this is not working out. It's okay. There's no shame in it. Pack up and just go back home. Nothing wrong with it. Let's go pack up and come back home.
I don't know your story. I only know mine. But I have a free healthcare walking up and down within Canada. And I am so sick with my back, my hip. According to doctor, cancer. According to doctor, hypertensive. According to doctor, diabetes. And I would not want to walk into another healthcare in Canada because one, they don't touch you. They will not do your vitals. I have never get my vitals done since I am in this country, and I've been to a lot of doctors here. Nobody will touch you. Secondly, they don't speak to you with respect. And the kind of health care that you get here, and bear in mind, I work in the hospitals here for 2 years. I work at Michael Garant, I work at Toronto Western, I work at Toronto General, I work at Princess Margaret, I work at several retirement homes, I work at several long-term care. Right, so the care that they offer is different. Our pay here will only be $20. It will not raise. The only thing that increase in Canada is the rent. Every year, the rent increased by $50. Every other, quite frequently, the phone bill, the internet bill and the phone bill raise every 6 months. So, what we earn will not be able to sustain our rent as the years go by because our pay will never raise in Canada. Food. The dearest food bill in the world is Canada. And Canada food, they are highly toxic. They are highly chemicalized, if there is such a word. Okay. So, the food, the chicken, the meat, it's loaded with chemical. What else you point to? Right, so Jamaica, when we return to Jamaica, I am looking forward to sit in the clinics whole day until I see a doctor or something. Because we won't be going back home to any health care like what we used to have working with the government. So we won't have that anymore. Right, so when I used to have health care, I used to have to sit at the doctor whole day too. Because my doctor in Portmore is a good doctor. And when we go to doctor read a whole day, we sit down and wait. So I am used to that. So, the family system that you're talking about, I don't have family in Jamaica. My mother and father and sister and brother, everybody abandoned me as a baby. And in Canada, the only family I have here is Chris. I have nobody here. In Jamaica, we hear my neighbors, them attack each other, and as somebody say, we have the puss and the cat, and the dog and the rat down there. So, your experience is different. Crime is here equally. I don't even go out late again here because we are people of color and they egg our home. We live in Toronto for a while and it's here we move and they full our home with egg because we are colored. So I don't know where you are, I don't know your experience, but I know mine. One of the other distressing thing is that because you have color and you have your qualification, it means nothing. I came here and I study and it still means nothing. They think I'm from Jamaica where it is primitive. They don't think we used to have water. They don't think we have light. My boss left his yard and come here to teach me how to wash pot, how to hold Scotch Brite, how to make 2 sandwiches with bread. So they think I am good for nothing because of my color. And that is one of the most devastating feelings that one person could ever have. That feelings of nothing that you have in Canada is worse than going to Jamaica and cannot afford to buy food. Is a dangerous feelings you have here. Secondly, here I am the most qualified and I'm the cleaner girl because they think I can't do anything. So enjoy yourself in Canada. We are looking forward to going back home, to go to the beautiful beaches, to walk up and down and enjoy ourselves, to drive, to go to Portmore, to go to Ken's at All Hits Party at night, to go to church and have worship. So we are so looking forward to go home. Yep.
I would like to apologize to the Americans, okay? On behalf of each and every foreigner that has ever looked at the US and been like, that looks easy, I could do that. America is easy. I would like to apologize to the Americans. Because, child, America is not easy. As a single woman, as a single foreigner coming on her 10th year of living in this country, child, is not easy. Stay in your home country. As someone who owns property in the US, as someone who has a good job in the US, as someone who started a business in the US, America is not easy. When those bills start hitting you, child, like the bills hit me this morning and I was just like, I'm done. I'm ready to go back home. Put me back on the first flight back to my home country because I can't do this no more. I can't do this no more. I just can't. Like this morning, I had to pay up to $600 just in tolls and parking tickets and parking violations. Child, I can't just drive my car in this country. I can't just drive my car. That's not enough. And then don't talk about the property taxes. The property taxes are killing me, child. The property taxes, the income taxes, the health insurance. It is expensive to live in America. Like, I don't know how Americans do it. I just don't.
Alright, people, watch along. 18 days since my day. I'm still not no friend. Everybody I tell me say that is a good thing still, but you know, I don't know. All me I look outside, I just can't see nobody outside. Like the place just empty, bro. The place just empty. You know. But one good thing I notice over here, so when people are like, "Oh, you're Jamaican," and I say, "Yeah," they're like, "Wow, that's so cool. I love Jamaica. I want to go to Jamaica." You know, Wagwan. People are trying to say, "Wagwan, my bro. Wagwan, my G. Wagwan, you good?" Yeah, them thing there. You see me? But over here kind of nice still, you know. But I'm just used to the fact that people always, when me there, people always I walk past, people always outside. I'm there Jamaica, but that's something I see nobody. So I'm just like, you know, I try to get used to them kind of stuff. Yeah.
Living in America and visiting America is two totally different experiences. I've been here 10 years, and one thing I've learned is that you have to keep your head by your body and you have to humble yourself. You literally have to walk and be humble as humble can be. You have to keep your head by your body, especially if you don't have any family member or little to no family member to give you the support that you need financially, emotionally, mentally. You get what me I said? The people who live here and been here for years know what me I talk about and understand what me I talk about. America is a country that can make you. It can make you real quick. But it can also break you faster than how it made you. So you have to be wise, be humble, listen, pay attention, and take heed.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but you cannot survive in Canada on minimum wage. Yes, I said it. You cannot survive in Canada if you're earning like $2,000 a month. In fact, minimum wage, maybe $40,000 down in a month. You cannot survive in Canada, guys. I know a lot of people will come and say, "Oh, I'm on minimum wage." Please, if you're on minimum wage and you're surviving, tell me how you're surviving in the comment section. I would like to know, but I am telling you categorically, you cannot. Those people are struggling, they're in credit card debts and all. It's not a very funny life. You will regret ever coming to this country. That's why I keep saying, get skills. You do not need to, you can start with customer service and factory jobs. Yes, that's good. Uber driving, yes, that's good. But get skills. There are a lot of professional skills that are not so difficult that you could get, that will get you that 6-figure job and live that comfortable life. You need to improve yourself if you are coming to another man's country, because they are interested in value. What value can you give them? So getting skills is very important. It's not just getting a job, but being able to move from job to job. So keep upgrading your skills, guys. We have 2 courses that are presently on. We have the business analysis course, and we also have our project planning Primavera Oracle P6 course that is on. Register for these courses. I know you might say, "Oh, I don't have the money." We have instrumental payment. You can pay in installments. So register for these courses and do yourself a lot of good. You will now have the skills and you will have the opportunity to apply to top companies, guys.
Family, for the new farm season coming in 2024 in Canada, there are some serious dialogue that need to be held with the Jamaican government and the Canadian government. Because the Jamaican farm worker, them need to get at least $18 hour working on farms across Canada. Family, a lot of the workers them have come up here in Canada from January, and for them not going down back until about October, November. So you see how much time they spend away from them family, coming to work to put food on the Canadian tables, which the Canadian citizens in Canada don't want to work and put food on for them one table, because farm work is beneath their level. So me I say, if other citizens from other countries can come and work on the farm, compensate them good. Compensate them good. So the Jamaican government need to stand up for the farm workers them. Also, if the farm worker them have to pay a housing fee for where them must stay,
Pay the man them good. Or if you work at $15.50 or $15.60, you have to pay for where you live. If you go on the bus, figure a road a Friday daytime, you have to pay for that. You have to pay for traveling. Plus, you have to pay the Canadian tax. See? I pay tax for lazy Canadian, sit down, not doing nothing. So we are work to make them eat. We are work to make them have places stay. Zed, but who talk about them things? Zed, me the Jamaican government look for the things them what them a sign off to the Jamaican them to come and find come work. Zed, a lot of time I want to see the man and woman them come and find and think it is. It not easy, you know? Yo, a skill for the man and woman them have a skill unless them pack all a 1 barrel and a 2 barrel and a 1 crate and still go home with a piece of money, you know? Yeah. Cause the Jamaican farm worker them I get the lowest pay money within Canada. See, who in Canada you can't go tell white people say you go pay them $15 an hour for work. You're mad, the person in the yard and we have to government send check on give them. They're not doing it. They're not doing it. So why we have to do it? Why we are stoop for the $15? Why we can't negotiate more from the Canadian government, which is more can be paid. More can be paid. See? Because if a man come here about 6 months and work for your employer upon the farm, see? Family, you know what money that the employer they make? You think $16 or $15 enough if he pay the man a chicken feed? See? So my time, family, 1 month what I selling what the man they sell alone make back the whole of money there where he spend out throughout the 6 months or 7 months. See? Why it's like a me alone I see the injustice that take place with the Jamaican farm worker them. I mean, why me alone I see them thing here? If you say yo the man then deserve more. See? Me see the other day, alright? Actually the first of this month, minimum wage raise. Is it that it raise to the farm worker them will get the raise and then come back? I don't think so. Me not think them will get that raise there. See? Our farm worker for y'all pay pension. See? You not even sure if you got the 10 year on the program. Cause you come this year and boss good and even like you and even take you back. You come this year a Jamaican might talk you near to the boss let you go. Cause that go on to. See? Something you might get sick on the program and the boss not take you back. See? So that pension money where you pay another 1 year there. Another 1 year where you come here. Is it that you get it? No, you not get it. So why them a draw out half of the Jamaican farm worker they come and find on a pension? Can't say never get back no pension toward nothing. Then, so me I say family, we need to hold some great dialogue with this thing. See? We can't just sell the man and woman them so short. See? The man and woman they need more. See? Especially the man and woman them work all these long hours, these 10 hours and them something there. See? The man them need some more money. See? So if you can't look at now here, you can't pay more money, me not send my workers them come work for you. It's simple. You cannot pay more money, I'm not sending my workers them come work for you. Pay with more and then my workers them become work for you. Because few people don't want to do it. Then why you want to underpay my people them? Eh? Nah, man.
I am not going to speak for anybody else. I'm going to speak for me. Personally, there's nothing in Canada to miss. When we were growing up, we were cultured that foreign is greener pasture and America, Canada and England are greener pastures and everybody wanting to go. And that is one of the biggest lie that could ever endow on the Caribbean people. Caribbean people rich in love, in help, in kindness, in being your brother's keeper. That is not in first world country. What happened is that they trick us, tell us to go to America to work because of green pasture. and they build up these expensive houses and charge us 250,000 Jamaican dollars, which is 2,000 odd Canadian dollars for rent. And then we have to pay those big rents, and those persons move to the Caribbean, buy houses at the waterfront, and have us maintaining their lifestyle. So they come to the Caribbean, they open up businesses, they buy out the hotels, and all of them are in the Caribbean running wholesales, running hotels, running restaurants, whilst we are the slaves in their country to help them to make their dream come true. Going to Canada was one of the biggest mistakes that I could have ever made. It not only damaged my physical health, but I was very close to getting mental health. I am not talking about anybody else. I am talking about me. The best place to live is Jamaica. Is the Caribbean, is to identify with your people, is to speak the same language. If you want little water, you get little water. You can get piece of breadfruit, you can get 2 tomatoes. If you're sick, you can call your neighbor. There's nobody in Canada to help you. The only thing that Canada have is snow, taxes, and high rent. And silent racism. So no, to answer your question, I forgot to not answer your question. No, I don't miss Canada because there's nothing in Canada to miss. Going to Canada was one of the biggest mistakes that I have ever made, and it cost me my health.
Hello guys, once again welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm your host Larry, and in today's video it's all about what our fellow black people are going through in Canada. As you've watched throughout the video, it's evident that our fellow black people, they are really suffering in Canada. Now, before we even dive into our today's commentary, please consider subscribing to my channel. If you're yet to subscribe, please like this video, comment, and let's have an engagement in the comment section so that this video can be recommended to a wider audience to create awareness amongst our fellow black people. Now, what I noticed is that recently I did a video about also our fellow black people and also the Jamaicans, because I say Jamaica because Jamaica is predominantly a black nation. So they were complaining, and make sure if you're yet to check this video, please go check it out. These guys were complaining that once they come back home, they face a very high rate of oppression. People steal from them. They overcharge them, that just because they are from the United States, from Canada, like from any European country. Now, like I said, we don't know what these people are going through in that video. So this is just a proof, or rather to show you that our fellow black people, they are suffering out there in the diaspora. When they go there in search of greener pastures, not all of them succeed, because we've seen in this video others are really facing very crucial health challenges. And now back home, we just quick to judge and say that these people have forgotten about their very own people, or rather where they came from. Like, we are not giving them humble time to adjust, because look at what they are going through, and they don't have the courage to tell us back at home how they are feeling, what they are going through, because we as humans, we will think that that's just an excuse for them not to send back home, or rather send some money back home. I mean, that's how humans, we are programmed to think and rather be. But serious thing is, our people are really suffering in the diaspora. And we should learn to welcome them back home. Let's make them feel like they are loved. Not just a feeling, but let's make sure that they realize and understand that they are loved. And once everything gets tough for them on the other side, they can just come back home and feel safe and be welcomed, not being cast out. Because remember, these people, when they go to the diaspora, it's not 100% guarantee that they are going to succeed in their lives. Even though we pray for them that everything goes well, most of them don't really settle in that quick, and they end up living on the streets. They get sick. They don't have anybody to turn to, because they went to the diaspora in search of greener pastures and to change the status back at home. So let's learn to understand them, give them some peaceful moments so that they can adjust. Because the same bills we are facing here in Africa, in Jamaica, in the Caribbean, they are facing the same challenges where they are. And it's not guaranteed that they'll get a very good paying job, because we've seen cases where these Western people, these whites, they don't really give the first priorities, these white collar jobs, to our fellow black people in the diaspora, because they see that the white collar jobs are totally meant for the white people, not the black people. So what our black people end up getting is these caregiving jobs. They have these working in grocery stores, the car wash, being like gardeners, so such jobs, and they really find it to be a hard task to balance themselves over there and also support us back at home. And if we are not understanding, we might think that these people, they don't care about us. Once they went to the United States, to Canada, to New York, they have forgotten completely from where they are from. But truth is, that's not the case. They're just facing as crucial moments, crucial challenges as we are facing here back in Africa and in Jamaica. And maybe they are even facing much tougher decisions or other challenges over there than we are here back at home. Because you see, most of them are really craving to come back home. But on the other hand, to what people are they going back to if we can't make their home safer for them? Where do we want them to go? Where do we want them to turn back to if we've turned our backs on them? So let's embrace them. Let's welcome them back home when things get tough. Because remember, Donald Trump, the current president of the United States, has a very massive plans on deportations of black immigrants. Now you know what that means. So let's just love them. Let's embrace them. Let's give them humble time for them to settle where they are. And let's have that heart of understanding, and let's have that ear to listen to them. So remember, if you're watching my video, like if it's the first time you've came across my video, please consider liking this video, comment and share. And also you can consider subscribing to my channel if you have the best interests of Africa and the Caribbean at heart. So, and until we meet again in my next video, peace out.